Hey, Verl Workman here. Today we're talking teams, and I want to get into a topic that is confusing to so many buyers today. So many buyers are sitting on the fence because they don't know if they should buy a home or should they rent a home. With the cost of housing and rising interest rates, the concept might be to just pull back and to not do anything. And the reality is, it just depends. In this session, I'm going to actually go into a Zoom recording and I'm going to take you as an agent through the entire process of walking through the client of whether or not they should buy versus rent. I'm not going to give you the advice of whether to buy or rent. I'm going to show you how to figure it out for the individual client so every client can be served and you can do the right thing for them. Here's what I've learned. By using the rent versus own shift module to buy or not to buy, which I'm going to provide in a free download right at the end of this video, you're going to have all of the tools and resources you need to be able to get people off the fence who are paying way too much for rent that should actually be buying even in today's market. So get ready, here it comes. Hey, it's Big V, everybody, and welcome. I want to share with you the ins and outs of, is it time to buy or is it time to rent? People ask us all the time, should I buy a house or should I continue renting? With interest rates rising, with the cost of mortgages going up, people really struggle with really making the determination if they should continue to pay rent. And I will tell you that for some people, paying rent is the only option. But for a lot of renters out there, we had an agent the other day call in and say that they had a client who had literally had a $400 a month increase in their rent. And they were just frustrated. And this is somebody who was looking to buy a home a year ago. You'll find in our story, to buy or not to buy, the story of this agent who's then reached out to all of his past clients who were in the market a year ago, but they couldn't find a house because of the sheer competition. Well, now all of a sudden, because of the rising interest rates, there's more inventory out there and there's more opportunities for them to find and buy properties. And so we developed a really cool shift module. It's called To Buy or Not to Buy. Let me share it with you. I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'm going to show you how it works from a calculator perspective. While I'm on this, I'm going to share with you how we look at the real estate transaction and give you some ideas of things that you could do as well. Okay, in the buy or not to buy system, what you're going to see is you're going to see a story. Is it more affordable to rent than it is to buy? That's the question we ask. So I'm going to encourage you to read the story, talk about what it really means. As you read the story out loud, you'll start getting some ideas. But here's some of the pros of renting. When you rent, there's no additional costs of property taxes, homeowners insurance, landlord taking care of repairs. It's easy to apply to get a property. There's minimal initial investment or down payment, and you can make short-term commitments, 6 months, oftentimes a year. The cons of paying rent is the rent goes directly to the landlord. Once you've paid it, it's gone. You can't make any physical, real meaningful changes to the property. Rent prices typically increase every year, and there's no tax advantages of paying rent. You don't get to write that off on your taxes, and you can't choose your neighbors. Some of the advantages of owning continued would be when you own a property, every single time you make a payment, you continue to build wealth. So over time, you're building your retirement. You have the freedom to make changes and do different things with the property. Monthly mortgage payment is often fixed, and it's fixed for a long period of time. It doesn't go up and down with the market. The other thing is you're paying down your own mortgage balance instead of paying somebody else's mortgage down. And of course, there's always tax advantages to buying. And then there's possible rental income if you choose to keep that house and later rent it. Bottom line is it just depends, and there's a way to do that. So in our system, to buy or not to buy, here's the resources that I'm going to give you. And if you stay tuned until the very end of this video, you can download, I'll give you the whole thing. You can download the whole To Buy or Not to Buy system, which includes the story, a calculator, and a script for what to do with the tool and the resource. So this is the story and how it works. Now, let me show you a little bit about the calculator. So this is the calculator, and this is a very in-depth calculator. It's not a simple, hey, just fill this out. The way this works is the variable fields need to be filled out. And so if you're paying rent or if you're a real estate agent that's helping a buyer determine whether or not it's good for them to continue to pay rent, we're going to start with what the marginal tax rate is. What tax bracket are they in? 25%, 30%, 40%, whatever tax bracket they're in, you need to write that in here. I use 25%. You can put whatever you want in there. The estimated annual appreciation of home. The last several years has been more than 3 to 5%, but I want to just use the last 3 years because we're at a stabilizing point. How much are they planning on buying? Are they buying a house around $400,000? That's fine. What down payment do they have? I use 10%. So you just put in the numbers exactly as the client has it. And then what are they currently paying for rent? Let's just say $2,800. Next thing we want to do is we want to say, okay, so that takes that annual rent from $2,800. It calculates for you and tells you that it's $33,600. Now, what's the renter's insurance? That's another $215. So the annual cost of renting is $33,815. The monthly cost of renting is $28,818. That's the hard cost of renting. Now, let's buy a home and let's see, is it a better deal to buy or to rent? So let's start here. I'm going to blow this up so you can see it really big. And let's put in the cost of buying. You buy a mortgage amount of $360 after you're 10% down. Your interest rate, let's say, is 6.5%. Maybe it's 7%. Maybe it's 5.5%. If you're doing a buy down, there's different ways you can qualify here. Number of years is 30 years. The mortgage payment is $2,275. And then you have your annual mortgage payment is $27,000. Your property taxes per year, depending on where you live, that could go up or down. I'm using the number of $5,000. Homeowner's insurance, $1,300. The cost of private mortgage insurance, which is usually on a loan that is less than 20% down. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on here at $1,764 a month or a year. And then the homeowner's annual dues, if they have a homeowner's association. In this case, I'm going to say we're not going to buy where there's a homeowner's association, so zero. And then annual home maintenance to keep the house up is about $4,000. So the total annual cost of buying is $39,369. Now, let's add in appreciation, what it goes up in the value of the home, principal reduction, how much you pay off in the first year. The total appreciation and principal reduction is $23,905. Now let's do the real cool math and let's take our tax adjustments for those who itemize. For those who itemize, you have your tax savings, on property tax, the mortgage insurance, total adjustments are $7,000. So the annual after-tax cost of home ownership is $33,000. And then we take the net cost of renting, which is $33,815. The net cost of buying is $8,000. And what that does is after you amortize it all out, how much more does it cost you to pay rent every year? $25,000. You go in the hole every year, $25,000, $2,000 a month. You can just walk over to the toilet and flush it down the toilet because that's what it costs you to rent instead of buy, even at a 6.5% rate. When people think rising interest rates takes them out of buying instead of renting, they just don't understand how to do that. So now let me go back and let's just say rates went up again. And I'm just going to change the interest rate. Let's see what would happen if the interest rate went from, let's see, mortgage rate, here we go, 6.5%. I'm going to put in 7.5%. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. Let's just see if it's still a better deal to buy versus rent. We still go in the hole $22,000 if you itemize and $14,000 if you just take a standard deduction. So you're going in the hole every single month, even at 7.5% or 8%. And I think you're going to find that for most people, if they realized that they would actually be gaining equity and they could write off the difference, they'd put them in a house, it would get them off the fence and back engaged in looking to buy a home. So the next steps are, I simply want you to, let me stop my share real quick. Next step is I want you to go and download, right down below, I want you to download the buy or not to buy module. I want you to practice the script, read the story out loud, and then I want you to call everybody that you worked with in the last year that didn't buy a house and tell them you'd like to meet with them, have coffee, and just go over whether it makes sense for them to continue renting even with the higher interest rates. Come back to the YouTube channel and give us your results. Tell us what you learned. I can't wait to see your success to buy or not to buy system. Is it clear enough? You now understand how to have the conversation with the client? All I need you to do right now is click the download the resource to buy or not to buy, and let's help your clients move off the fence. The tools work. The system is magic. Will you do the work?